What's up, guys? So, we're back at it again with another review. Welcome to the review and discussion for UnOrdinary. This week it is episode 250. Now, I said this episode was going to be epic as all hell. I said that this episode, that we were finally getting some action with a fight breaking out. And we did. We got action with a fight breaking out, and I am beyond excited about that. Beyond excited. Episode 249 kind of left off with Blike encountering some people, some students, or we'll get to that in a bit. Blike, so chapter 249 left off with Blike and John running up to some people who were causing a ruckus at Rowden Park, and essentially just kind of being like, yo, like get out of here, like I'm gonna wipe the floor with you guys, then get out of this park, like stop messing with people. And so, this chapter kind of left off with like people's reaction to that, just some gray silhouettes just kind of reacting to everything. And some people pointed out in the group that they were actually dealing with the Rowden Royals. Now, I actually didn't think that could be a possibility because I forgot a few things about how Royals usually work actually. So I honestly thought these guys in the previous chapters, just based on like how Uru drew them or how they were drawn last chapter, I thought that they were adults, kind of like the loan shark people who were messing with Adrian way back when John was in New Boston. So I thought they were adults, but it turns out that they're just assumedly students at Rowden High probably. And so someone pointed out in the crowd that they were the Royals of Rowden. And yeah, like honestly, that never occurred to me. Now, what's interesting about this, what was interesting about this is that I noticed in the chapter, Blike never brings up the fact that he's from Wellston. So, clearly, I think considering how Agwin was the second best school in the region, I believe is the exact wording. I'm pretty sure it was always going to be easy that these guys are like, just leagues ahead of, or that Blike is just leagues ahead of these guys, especially John is leagues ahead of these guys. But anyway, so Blike kind of just tells, so I think it's pretty clear that these guys had no idea what they were in for, considering how whatever her name was, from Agwin, who like ran into Remy when she found out that her and Arlo were from Wellston. She was like, oh snap, I fucked up bad. Anyway, so they had no idea that they were outmatched here. Now, real quick, something I want to touch on is Blike and John. We get another instance of how similar they are in character in what they believe in. But what I mean by that is when their reaction when they find out that they're dealing with the Royals of Rowden. They have similar reactions, similar but different. They both get very angry, and they both get very angry and aggressive when they realize that they're dealing with the Royals of this part of this city. John starts freaking out. This confrontation is actually very bad. I said last time, the confrontation is bad for John because, he's freaking out. Like, he's still not used to control. He has had better instances lately, but he's still not perfect at it. So he starts freaking out a little bit because he's getting mad. And when he finds out that they're Royals, it gets worse because they're reminding him even further of his old self, the self that he hates so much. Blike, on the other hand, has a similar reaction, though not as extreme, where he just contemplates that these guys are Royals and this is how they act. Like, I'm sick of this. I am so sick of this. So, yeah. And John's freak out also just continues to escalate the further this chapter goes on. So as it continues, and Blake says like, hey, like I'm gonna wipe the floor with you guys, and the Jack of the group, the purple hair kid, he kind of tells Blake, hey, like, you know what, fine, we're feeling generous, we're the Royals after all, so if you can be any one of us, like, fine, like we'll get lost, like, don't worry about it. But the survey said that was a fucking lie, because Blake obviously does wipe the floor with their whoever they sent out, and they don't. Anyway, so Blake, so purple hair Jack tells him like, hey, like fine, like beat one of us, we'll back off, like don't worry about it. So Blake tells him, fine, send out whoever you want, I'm still gonna wipe the floor with them. So we get Blike versus the king of Rowden, Cree. Now, clearly you guys know that I can't show you images of what these guys look like yet, just because these chapters haven't been released yet. Now, Cree looks very similar to Adrian, actually, in hairstyle and kind of in, like, the facial features as well. He has, like, Adrian's similar hairstyle, like, kind of like the slick back spikes, but his hair is, like, more of, like, a yellowish green, or a greenish yellow. I forget what the difference is. Anyway, so, first things first. When it comes I'll touch on this in a bit, actually. Now this fight against Cree. Now Cree has a very interesting ability. His ability modifies his body. Actually both the king and the queen have a body modifying ability. I just realized that. Anyway, so Cree's body, thanks to Miriam, one of my viewers, for coming up with this name, which we're calling for now Steel Man. Kind of like Iron Man. I know that Uru is a little bit of a fan of Marvel Comics. Anyway, so Cree's ability basically turns his body into kind of like a metallic structure. It just covers, I think, his torso. It might have been around his legs, but we really only got like a shot of like his neck and his arms as well. Didn't really get a good shot at his like legs, because like there was nothing really out in the open to see, and it didn't cover his head, but it got like this sort of like metallic S design to it, but also like his I believe these are forearms. I don't know human biology, or that's probably not even the right word. Point is, I don't know human structure. I believe these are the forearms, though. And, like, they would kind of expand when he attacked as well. So he has, like, an enhancement ability that also does modify his body as well. Now, this was actually really interesting, I feel, because this fight I found was very reminiscent of Blike's original first actual fight, other than just that quick confrontation with Ison in Chapter 1. It was very similar to Blike's first fight we saw against Go of the Rowden Royals, because I found it was very similar because Blike is up against a member of the Royals with kind of a physical enhancement type ability. Go had superhuman strength, and Cree has this Steelman ability, as we're calling it for now. And also there were some instances where where Cree fought very similarly to Go. Now, clearly the fight against Go was fairly easy for Blike. It happened quick. It was one chapter, and Blike maintained fairly good control of that fight, but that wasn't a clean sweep. That, I would say, was, an even fight amongst two fairly even jokers. It has been said in the series, although we've never seen it, I wish we could, has been said in the series that there have been some instances where Ison, despite being 2 levels below, I think, despite Ison being weaker than Blike, he did have a few matches on Blike. So, point is, the fight against Go wasn't necessarily too easy for Blike. Go still did manage to do some damage to him and everything, and this fight was a lot easier for Blike, and I think it was a really nice look as to how far Blike has come as a character, when you think back at like how he was when we first saw him. You know, he was reckless, like, you know, kind of like, you know, just kind of rushing in and everything. But this time, like, this was a good mastery of like showing how far Blike's come and how far he's mastered his ability since we saw him for the first time again. So it was good. It was really nice to see, and if that was intentional, like 100%, you nailed, like, you and your team nailed that. That was really awesome. Now, Blike easily wipes the floor with Cree. Cree got like a few good hits in, he did. But Blike is just like, yo, like, you can't beat me, bro. Like, you know, like, just get lost. Anyway, then the ambush happens. And this is what I want to touch on real quick. I asked Uru last week. I asked for some dope ass abilities. Clearly, you know, these were already. I'm fairly certain these were already decided well before I brought it up. Like the possibility that Blike was gonna be fighting anyone. I was like, yo, like, give us some cool abilities, Uru, like, because, like, you know, like, I was a little tired. Like, you know, we saw, especially at Wellston, which is supposed to be the highest concentration of higher tier individuals, we've seen a lot of similar abilities. You know, like, we've seen speed abilities, we've seen strength abilities a lot. You know, like, we've gotten some repeat abilities throughout the series, which is fine. You know, like, not everything can be 100% unique all the time. But I asked for some unique abilities. I asked for some cool looking abilities. Uru straight up just said, Julio, you want cool abilities? You got cool abilities. Let me show you what we got on the table here. So we got Cree's Steel Man ability. Dope as fuck. The Queen of Rowden High. An ability very similar to Melee, I would say. And I'm going to say right now, I'm pretty sure that all of the Rowden Royals are elite tier users. You know, maybe they're above. No, they shouldn't be above 4. What am I saying? Well, no. They're the Royals. So yeah, they could be 4s. They could be above 4s now that I think about it, because Go was a level 4 if I recall correctly. Point is, so the girl with blue hair, kind of similar to Remy's, has an ability where she can grow like these massive not massive axe blades. I think they look about the size. Actually, no, they're pretty big. I think let me check that. I think they cover up her, I think they're about the size of her, the length of her arms, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, no, they're pretty beefy. They're pretty big. Like no, these things are massive. Actually, these things are massive. So yeah, no, she like grows these like axe blade things like from her forearms, very similar to Melee's demon claws. And I say that I'm pretty sure she's at least like a pretty high elite tier due to the size of her blades themselves, and also, like, you know, the fact that she can grow 2 of them on one arm. Melee is an elite tier, and she was able to do that. So yeah, there's that right there. Now, so she has her axe blades, the Queen does. And again, that's an ability we have. That's a similar ability to what we have seen before. There was one of the randos that Remy fought that had like kind of a slashish arm back then. You know, like I said, I just compared it to Melee's Demon Claws too, so we've seen that. But it was really cool to see, especially how Uru implemented it, because she also kind of crawls up her, like kind of like an armor-ish type something grows on her arms as well when she uses them. Kind of like how Melee's, like, you know, like a little bit of her upper wrist up to her hands, they do glow when she uses her claws too. Anyway, now. So axe arms, that's dope. That's freaking cool. Now, this was really cool. Now, I actually forgot about this. Blike forgot about this for some reason, despite him being able to know how Royals work. Healers. Royals, of course, have to have healers. Like like healing, like of course you got to have healers. Like that's got to be in the Royals bag, you know? They have a healer with them. Actually, no, screw that. We're touching him last. The last ability, the Jack's ability is really, really cool. Like super cool. The Jack's ability, he like can manifest these projectiles that look like purplish flames, you know, because abilities usually match the hair color. Abilities match the hair color, if I recall correctly. Aura should mostly reflect the eye color, I think. Except for Remy's lightning. Her lightning is just blue. You know, it's just blue. Anyway. So, So the Jack's ability, he like manifests these like projectile things. He can throw them. He can like create some distance with them. And they rupture upon impact, supposedly. That's what it looked like when Blike was dodging them and evading them. So, super cool ability there. Again, an ability that we have seen similar things before, but the fact that it looked cool, it looked different to the things we've seen before, was still really awesome. Now, I asked for dope abilities, and Uru went above and beyond. Even the healer's ability was different. We've seen, if I recall correctly, we've seen about 2 healers before. We've seen Dumb Bitch, and we've seen Agwen's healer. And I believe Agwen's healer healed in the same way as Elaine did, which was just like, you know, hovering their hands over the wounded person's body and just like, you know, healing them. But Uru was like, no. Julio wants cool abilities. I'm gonna give him some cool abilities. So how does the Rowden healer heal his party? He like connects basically their hearts with like some sort of aura manifestation, like linking the two of them, and like maybe he gives them some of his aura or something. Is this like another new meta ability we're seeing? I don't know. You know, it could just be like healing in a different, you know, with a different look. But what if it is a new meta ability we're seeing now? Like, what if Uru was finally like, yo, like, let me tease you guys a little bit. Let me just sprinkle in a meta ability real quick. Don't mind me. But, man, meta abilities, bro. The healing is so cool. So anyway, Queen steps in. She gets an attack on Blike, and like it's a pretty good cut, like around his chest too, like in his upper torso. So she backs up Cree, and like she successfully gets a hit off on Blike, and the healer gets back up, and the Jack ambushes him as well, and it's now a 4-on-1 if we're including the healer. 3-on-1 because let's be real, healers don't really count. In this instance, he's really just an annoyance. He can't really do anything to hurt Blike himself. He's healing the king, yeah, but like that's not too bad. Like he's not the healer's not a threat necessarily. The healer is a threat in his own respects. I'm rambling. So Blike realizing that they have a healer, and he's kind of in a 4-on-1 situation. He's like, this is bad. But next we get something that I have been wanting for so long, and that is John coaching Blike. And it's something I've wanted for so long. Ever since like I even got the idea of John using Blike's ability, John and Blike being friends, I've always wanted like, yo, John, take Blike, show Blike like, hey, this is what you can do with your ability. Like let me show you some things you probably never even considered. Now, to his credit, Blike has shown a few things that I think, now that I think about it, maybe only one thing, which is just, you know, the propulsion, whatever it's called, whatever the word is. Where like, you know, like he just uses a little bit of energy to like send out a burst pulse wave. We haven't seen John do that yet, I don't think. But it's something I've always wanted to see. Like John basically tell Blike like, hey, like this is what, like you could be doing this with your ability. You could be doing this with your ability. Like try doing this with it. Anyway, so John steps in and tells Blike like, hey, like these guys, like this is what you need to do. Like this needs to be your plan of attack. You need to go after the healer first. And Blike tells John like, are you like, what is wrong with you? Like, you want me to like just rush in? Like, are you crazy? And John tells him like, and John like this is really like it's most likely like a heat of the moment thing with Blike, because clearly he's in a high tense situation. He also doesn't really want to take orders from John right now. Like, let's be real. So, but it really makes sense. Like, Blike really should be listening to John, because Blike knows John is an aura master. John knows his shit when it comes to auras. John is the second strongest person Blike has ever met, and his ability revolves around mastery of auras, and John probably has the greatest mastery in the series we've seen thus far. Now John tells Blike, hey, like, these guys, like, they're two attackers, their attack speeds are about the same. Like, you don't need to worry about them. Like, trust me, like, you are stronger than these guys. Now, when John is saying this, he's very hesitant too, because Blike even says, like, why aren't you doing anything? And like, John's like, like, just trust me. Like, you can do this. Like, you don't need me. You don't need me to help you out. Now, it's understandable why John doesn't want to get involved. Like I said before, John hasn't necessarily had to do anything yet. The last time he got in an actual fight with his ability was back at New Boston, when those loan sharks were joustling Aiden, and John stepped in and he went overboard a little bit. Luckily, Adrian was able to stop him and like tell him, like, hey, like, calm down, like, you won already. And like, John was able to, like, whoa, sorry about that. And the guys backed off. The last time John stopped a confrontation was with Zeke, and John knows that Zeke's terrified of him. John John knows Zeke can't do anything to him. He didn't have to use his ability, but John has had more time to freak out about what's happening and what would happen if he did use his ability. He's in his own head right now. And so John just doesn't want to get involved, because he is worried, because he will most likely go overboard if he does get involved with these guys. So Blike, like, but I do think there was still a lot of like evidence there to support that John actually knew Blike could handle this on his own. And even then, like, Blike needs to, sometimes Blike does need to be a little more like John. I'll get to that in a second. Anyway, so John tells Blike that he can do it himself. So Blike, like, like, he's like, fine. Like, he almost gets hit again, but he manages to successfully dodge. He just tells, like, you know what? Fine. Screw it. He's not going to help. I'll just follow his advice. He goes after the healer of Rowden, and he manages to successfully knock down the healer. And when he does, like, we see that the healer's ability isn't active anymore, because we do see that the little orb inside of Cree has disappeared the next time we see Cree. Anyway, so with the healer down, then John told Blike to go after their Jack, the guy with like the purple flame things. And so when like the Jack like hears like John tell Blike like a plan, he's like, yo, like, this guy's like reading our movement, like, he's a strategist, like, that has to be his ability. He tells him, like, yo, like, we need to take this guy out right now. And so the three of the Rowden Royals go to ambush John. And when they do, John like panics, and like John kind of like, his eyes widen as he sees everything. He's like, no, like, don't do it. But Blike immediately rushes to John's help, and he uses a pulse to push back the Royals. And he like basically he then just grabs John by the shirt and just tells him, like, yo, do something. I don't know what's wrong with you right now, but just fucking punch someone already. Like, do what you do, John. But when Blike does that, then Cree attacks Blike. Now, this is why I said Blike needs to be a little bit like John sometimes. Because when Cree attacked Blike, the healer's ability was active again. It might have been smaller, like, because the healer took some damage, obviously. Might have been smaller than how it was previously, but, due to the angle of everything, like, it didn't get too good a look at it. Point is, though, the healer was still active and still healing Cree from Blike's attacks and everything. So that was still an issue. Had Blike done like a little bit more, Blike definitely has a lot more control than John does. But had Blike actually made sure that the healer was out of commission, he wouldn't have had to worry about, well, no, he probably still would have been attacked, but no, actually, no, he wouldn't, because he did get a pretty good pulse off on the other guys. Point is, healer was still active, and Blike gets knocked back, and when he does, like, he gets slid back and everything, he gets pretty bruised up, but John sees that. John snaps. John freaks out. John's had enough, and he thinks in himself, why can't I just use my ability like an ordinary person and beat these fuckers down? Now that's scary. That's really scary, because right now, John's not thinking straight. He's not. He doesn't want to stop the confrontation. He thought it himself. He wants to beat these guys into the dirt. He wants to, like, no mercy. Like, you guys, like, fine. Like, you know, like, you had your chance. King's coming out of the cage. The true king is coming out of the cage. So anyway, John thinks that to himself, like, I need to beat these fuckers down. We then see Blike on the floor, just kind of like, that son of a bitch, John. Like, he left me hanging and everything. Like, he let me get attacked. But actually, I didn't notice this at first, but then I noticed it, like, when, like, I saw things going down. Blike had an orb on him, a healing orb. And I thought, immediately when I saw that, I thought, oh no, the healer's still up. That means he's probably taking energy from Blike right now. But no, that wasn't what was happening. Because Blike's bruises in the panels started going down. They started disappearing. And he looked at John and saw that he was connected to John. And John healed him up. And John had at least 3 abilities activated: Steel Man, Axe Arms, and Recovery Link. Now, that's epic, because John, the king has taken up the crown. The true king, the Shadow King, is back, baby. But like I said, this could be really scary, because right now John is pissed. And there's one thing I did gloss over that those of you who are at the reaction probably are going to point out right now. You didn't talk about the guy. You're right, I didn't talk about the guy. I want to talk about the guy right now. Why this is so scary is because I believe it was during Blike's first match with Cree. Or maybe not. When was this? When did we see that guy? When do we see him? Where are you, guy? Where's the guy? Hold on. Let me find the guy. Okay. It was after Blike beat Cree the first time. Before Cree got healed. Blue hair was watching Blike. The guy who spotted John and Sarah at the park together. He's watching the fight go down right now. Now, why I think this is so scary, or it could be a silver lining, is this guy is keeping tabs on John right now. But, that's also really bad, because John decided to follow Blike, the person he's in charge of today, he also inadvertently got Blike closer to Spectre. I just realized this could go wrong really fast, actually, now that I think about it, now that I'm realizing that. Anyway, the guy's watching the fight go down. Now, this is scary because, like I said, John is not right now. He just wants to hurt these guys, and he most likely is going to go overboard them. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I love John, but, like, he's probably going to, go a little bit overboard. Now, worst case scenario, blue hair guy in the black sweatshirt sees this. He sees John kind of like rampaging. Blike can't do anything about it, and the guy's like, yeah, no, like John's right, or Terrence was right. John's gonna be a major problem, and they decide that they have to do something. Blike sees John freaking out, sees John going overboard. Despite Blike telling John that John needed to do something, Blike could still like freak out on John, like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, you're going overboard, knock it off. Which he probably will. Like, let's be real, he probably will. Like, he asked for John's help. He didn't ask John to kill these guys. But could be positive too. It could be this could be good, because let's not forget, the Rowden Royals started this. They did. They started beating up random security guards and random passerbys first. They started it. Now, Blike and John, Blike is stepping in, John's now stepping in to stop it. Spectre guy could see this as Blike and look at Blike like, you know what? Terrence might have been wrong about this guy. Like, this guy, like, actually, like, he's still rough around the edges a little bit, but, this guy actually stepped in to stop the altercation. He could also see John like, like, Terrence was right. Like, this guy, he is a problem, but you know what? Like, he still did that. And the other guy, Blike, was able to talk him out of it. Like, get him to calm down. Like, this kid, like, like, he's getting better, actually. So that could be a positive. Like, this could still turn out good, but it doesn't change the fact that, like, two of the people Sarah did not want Spectre to, like, be monitoring are currently getting monitoring super hard right now in the worst possible way scenario, because Sarah wanted to avoid any kind of confrontation, and yet it's not a confrontation between Blike and John, but it is a confrontation nonetheless. Spectre's definitely getting some good data right now at the very most. So yeah, that's the recap. Overall, this chapter was really good. The fight was really cool. Like I said in the beginning, seeing this as like seeing this as like a comparison between Blike versus Go, like the first time we saw Blike actually fight, is really cool, because you see how far Blike has come, like how much more he's mastered his ability since, how better he's gotten at this kind of matchup, which he was already pretty good at. Like, all we're missing now is the Rain rematch. Like, I want to see that. I want to see the Rain. I want to see like high tier Rain, that's what I want, man. But like I said this in the reaction, this fight is really cool. This fight is still really cool, Uru. I really liked it a lot. You and your team, you did a great job with the choreography. Your team did a great job bringing it to life. I would say the story within the fight is a lot better than the fight itself. Like I said, this fight is definitely not on par with like John versus Arlo, Ventus and Melee, John versus the Royals, John versus Blike, John versus Ison, John versus Sarah. Like, it's not on par with those by any means, but it's still really good because there's still a story being told here. Like, you see how far Blike's come with his fight against Cree. You see like John telling Blike like, yo, do this, you're gonna win. Seeing this kind of team up is really sick. And also like the abilities are like really cool. I would say the fight itself is like, fight's an 8 out of 10. Fight is an 8 out of 10. The chapter itself, for sauce, for fight, for the cliffhanger, this chapter is a 9 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10 by any means. But yeah, a 9 out of 10, like this chapter was really good. Last week was definitely a major 10 out of 10. But point is, like, this chapter was still really good. This chapter was awesome to read. We did get the unfortunate news that next week there is going to be a break, though. So, Uru, I hope you enjoy your break. You and your team definitely deserve it. UnOrdinary will return on the 16th of March, just before St. Patrick's Day. So, hopefully Uru throws in some green for us. But yeah, man. Next week, or not next week, chapter 251, March 16th. Uru, I'm asking you, please let us see the coolest John combo yet with Iron Bot, like Steel Man, Axe Arm, Energy Beam, Purple Flame, Black Flame, actually. Black Flame Bomb, Axe Slash. Like, that would be sick. Like, combining those three abilities, because based on what we've seen, I don't think Steel Man could add anything to, like, a projectile. But, like, combining Axe Arm with the flames, with Energy Beam, that would be so sick for a projectile. Let us see it, Uru, please. I'm begging you. But yeah, that's it, guys. This is definitely the longest review we've had yet. But it was a great chapter. It was a great chapter nonetheless. Thanks, you guys, so much for watching. Let me know what you guys thought down below in the comments. Let me know if you enjoyed the chapter as well, what you didn't like about it. But yeah, that's going to be it for now, guys. So, as per usual, see you, Space Cowboy.